If you were around looking out of your window on Wednesday afternoon, at some point you saw hail coming down, which is very appropriate for this week's Parsha, Parshas Vaera, which deals with the first 7 plagues that God brought upon the Egyptians, the 7th one being Barad, hail. And of course, the hail in Egypt, the sages tell us, was fire and ice together, a miracle that God performed for the Jewish people. However, you never see hail in Atlanta coming down. It's very rare. So appropriate nonetheless. I wanted to speak about the name Pharaoh, Paro. What exactly does it mean? What can we learn from that? As we know, every name in the Torah and everything in the Torah has deep meaning. So what exactly is the meaning behind the name Paro or Pharaoh? The meaning, says Rabbi Moshe Chaim Lutzato, one of the great sages in the 1700s, tells us that it comes from the root word blockage. Ata mafriya li. You're bothering me, you're blocking me, we would say in Hebrew. Why? What does Paro have to do with the essence of that evil despot? What exactly does it mean? And what was he trying to do? So Rabbi Moshe Chaim Lutzato tells us that Paro was not trying to make the Jews work because he wanted good laborers and he wanted us to build those great pyramids. That wasn't his main purpose. His main purpose was to block us from any spiritual pursuits outside of us. And the best way to do that is to make us work hard and not to be able to think about anything else. That was what the name Paro represents. Paro is blocking the Jewish people from striving for anything outside of themselves because they had no time. It says in this week's Parsha, the Jewish people suffered from kotzer ruach, a tough spirit. He ruined our spirit. We didn't have time to do the things in Judaism that make us great. Time for prayer, time for Torah study, and time for Shabbat. He didn't have that. We didn't have that. And that was Paro was trying to do. He was trying to ruin our spirits and not let us have time for the things that make us great as Jews. So comes Moshe Rabbeinu, and Moshe Rabbeinu works out a deal with the evil Pharaoh. And Moshe says you have to give him 1 day off of work. And what was that day? Shabbat. Moshe Rabbeinu knew that the way to save Klal Yisrael was Shabbat. Why? Because Shabbat is a day where we can focus on Torah study, focus on prayer, focus on spiritual pursuits and being with our family and things that are outside of the mundane world that we're in all the time. We're constantly working nowadays also. 5 days a week we're working, and Shabbat comes around, and it's the time where we can take off and we have time to think and time to do things we don't normally get to do. That's the secret success of the Jewish people. And that was what Pharaoh was trying to take away from the Jewish people. Paro was trying to block us from becoming the great nation that we're supposed to be. The nation that has 1 day at least to work on spiritual pursuits, work on things that are meaningful, such as prayer, such as Torah study, being with family and friends, and talking about things that are loftier than just our work week. That is the secret to success for us. You know, Shabbat is not only the conclusion of the week, the sages tell us, but it's actually also simultaneously the start of the week. Because the more we put into Shabbat during the week as a conclusion to the week, the more that conclusion will be a good fresh start for us for the week ahead. And a thought to keep in mind, that Moshe Rabbeinu knew that the secret to our success is the Holy Shabbat, where we can use and focus on our spiritual pursuits. So too, that was what Pharaoh was trying to take away from us. So let's use this Shabbat and let's try to use it in the way that Moshe Rabbeinu deemed for us to use it, in the way that goes against Pharaoh and anyone else that's trying to ruin our spirit. We should use it as a time to focus on things that aren't just in our work week, and things that are more lofty in nature, with family and friends together, or at least just our family during this time. But let's use it and let's work on it as best we can. Shabbat Shalom.